Popcorn Optimist.
Welcome to Popcorn Optimist, a film appreciation YouTube channel that believes the more context we have, the more likely we are to appreciate films. This is a new weekly series about the week's new releases, and it's called... Think of Cinebills as non-spoiler contextual previews. When we go to the theater, we get helpful contextual information in the form of a program or a playbill. We don't get those at the movies, and that's what this is. So, please enjoy our Cinebill for the legacy sequel, known as...
The juice is loose.
Facts and figures, starting with the official synopsis from the official website. Beetlejuice is back. After an unexpected family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter Astrid discovers the mysterious model of the town in the attic, and the portal to the afterlife is accidentally opened. With trouble brewing in both realms, it's only a matter of time until someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, and the mischievous demon returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. The film is rated PG-13, it runs 105 minutes, the official release date is September 6, 2024, and is distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. Love seeing the Geffen logo, by the way. Moving on to cast and crew, starting with the film's titular star, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. Keaton, of course, known for the original Beetlejuice, the first 2 Batman films, Batman and Batman Returns, both directed by Tim Burton, and the recent Knox Goes Away, also directed by Keaton. The film also stars Winona Ryder, of course, from the original Beetlejuice and from the Netflix series Stranger Things. Catherine O'Hara, known for the original Beetlejuice, the Christopher Guest-directed films like Waiting for Guffman and A Mighty Wind, and the CBC series Schitt's Creek.
David!
Jenna Ortega, known for Screams 5 and 6, directed by Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette, and the Netflix series Wednesday, with half the episodes directed by Tim Burton. Monica Bellucci, known for 2022's Memory, directed by Martin Campbell, and the 2002 Gaspar Noé film Irreversible. Justin Theroux, known for 1999's Mulholland Drive, directed by David Lynch, and the HBO series The Leftovers. And finally, Willem Dafoe, of course known for many films, but I'll name check 1985's To Live and Die in LA, directed by William Friedkin, 2017's The Florida Project, directed by Sean Baker, and 2023's Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. The film was directed by Tim Burton, more on him later. It was written by Alfred Goff and Miles Miller. Let's switch that. The writing duo have worked on a number of projects together, like CW superhero classic Smallville and the Netflix series Wednesday. The story is by Alfred Goff, Miles Miller, and Seth Grahame-Smith. Seth Grahame-Smith, known for writing the novels Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, as well as 2012's Dark Shadows, directed by Tim Burton. Music is by Danny Elfman. Elfman wrote his debut score for Tim Burton's Pee-wee's Big Adventure and is known for many scores, but I'll name check his score and singing contributions as the singing voice of Jack Skellington in Nightmare Before Christmas.
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air.
Production design is by Mark Scruton, who worked as art director on Gravity, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and production designer on Netflix's Wednesday. The movie was edited by Jay Prichidney, known for editing 2023's Scream 6 as well as Netflix's Wednesday, and cinematography by Harris Zambraloukos, known for working on many films with director Kenneth Branagh, including 2021's Belfast, and it was produced by Plan B Entertainment and Tim Burton Productions. And finally, notes and harkens. Harkens is a term that we'll return to later. Starting with director Tim Burton, born in Burbank, California. He attended Cal Arts. His student film Stalk of the Celery Monster is what got him noticed at Walt Disney Productions, where he would go on to make the short films Vincent and Frankenweenie. His first feature, 1985's Pee-wee's Big Adventure, would be the start of a massive career in film with works like Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, my personal favorite, Big Fish, and of course Beetlejuice. Hallmarks of Burton's style include a love for expressionism, defined by Tate Modern Art Galleries as expressionist art refers to the expression of subjective emotions, inner experiences, and spiritual themes, as opposed to realistic depictions of people or nature. Perhaps the most common examples are from the German expressionist films like 1920's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, directed by Robert Wein, and 1922's Nosferatu, directed by F.W. Murnau. Burton is also a noted fan of Hammer Film Productions, including their horror productions. Common examples include 1957's The Curse of Frankenstein, 1960's The Brides of Dracula, and 1968's The Devil Rides Out, all directed by Terence Fisher. Burton also has a very clear love of writer Edgar Allan Poe and actor Vincent Price. He's known for mixing horror and humor. A good example would be this closet scene from Beetlejuice.
We just have to pray the other closets are bigger than this one.
The sequel to Beetlejuice has gone through a few different phases since Beetlejuice's original release in 1988, including one pitch for Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. I'll show my hand and say I'm a little sad we didn't get that one. Different writers have worked on it over the years, including Graham Smith, who retains the story by credit. Burton would ultimately commit to making the sequel once the story centered Lydia as an adult with a child of her own. Keaton worried a sequel might double down on the Beetlejuice character, equaling diminished returns. This is Keaton speaking to the New York Times. Hey man, those car crashes were really good. Let's give him 50 car crashes. We both knew don't do that. And here he is speaking to Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show.
We had a deal. I said, if we ever do it, I can't be in it. If I'm in it maybe a minute longer than I was, that's it. If I'm in less, in other words, I'm only in the first one for 12 minutes or something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in it for a very short time. I said, we can't do more.
Practical effects were also a priority for the film. Here's Keaton again speaking to The Tonight Show.
Not too much technology, really handmade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It was so fun.
Not so much CGI.
Yeah.
Burton also spoke about practical effects to the New York Times, saying, I realized I got caught up in the Hollywood thing. I tried to strip everything and go back to the basics of working with good people and actors and puppets. It was kind of like going back to why I liked making movies. This movie feels a bit like a legacy sequel, which, according to Wikipedia, a legacy sequel is a work that follows the continuity of the original works, but takes place further along the timeline, often focusing on new characters with the original one still present in the plot. A hallmark of legacy sequels is the effect of time on the characters and also on the artists. Here's Burton speaking to Fred Film Radio about returning cast members.
What made it special is like a very personal movie, and then working with, Michael and Winona and Catherine again was very emotional for me. And then so revisiting this family, which I was interested in, and then seeing that three generations of these women in this family, and that just became very interesting.
Harkens. Harkens is a term my wife likes for a film that recalls an earlier film. That's not really how the term is used, but my wife likes it, so here we are. Starting with, of course, the original Beetlejuice, directed by Tim Burton. And we'll be covering other legacy sequels. For our purposes, we'll be discussing films where the cast returned as well as the director, a rarer feat. Starting with the Before trilogy, directed by Richard Linklater and starring Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. That's 1995's Before Sunrise, 2004's Before Sunset, and 2013's Before Midnight. We'll also mention 2017's T2 Trainspotting, directed by Danny Boyle. In 2022, Francis Ford Coppola re-edited The Godfather Part 3 into a clearer, slightly shorter film, and it's definitely worth checking out. And finally, Dracula AD 1972, directed by Alan Gibson. The film is a favorite of Burton's. This is Burton speaking to Rotten Tomatoes. I think it was Hammer on the decline, and they thought, hey, let's get hip, which was a mistake. But I enjoy mistakes sometimes. And I'll leave things with this quote from Tim Burton speaking to the New York Times about Winona Ryder's character Lydia. That was my interest in this. For everybody that was a cool teenager, what happens to you as an adult? What happens to you? What are your relationships like? What happens when you've got kids? For me, this movie couldn't have been made until now. I understand all these things a bit more because of my own strange journey. How much of any of this you actually need to know to enjoy the film? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. But I hope this information was fun to learn, and I hope it helps raise your appreciation for the film when you see it. Join us next week. We'll be covering the horror remake Speak No Evil, directed by James Watkins.
Popcorn